What's the most hurtful thing you've overheard about yourself by accident? Part 3. Self-confidence is the greatest asset one can own. When people say something mean, it slides off bit by bit and ultimately shatters. It is common practice for people to talk behind your back in many places. Today our Redditors share their experiences about the most hurtful stuff they've heard about themselves behind their backs. At a family reunion, my mother stated she was so happy when I moved out. It was at my house and I was letting her live there for free after her divorce. Moms sure can be mean. I was copied into an email conversation where about 10 messages earlier, one of my employees had described me as an idiot and suggested to the recipients that they didn't get me involved in the situation they were discussing. I'd always thought we'd all gotten along well, and it knocked my confidence. Who's the idiot now? My stepmom saying I was useless, heartless, abusive, leeching, etc. when I couldn't get my dad a birthday gift and instead painted something for him. I was like 16 at the time and had no money. Couldn't get my mom to buy something for her ex-husband, and my stepmom never wanted to get to know me. It's actually pretty sad, as art was still a big deal to me at that age, and has changed now that I've seen her as a person. She's definitely jealous of you, girl. I once overheard my friend's mom telling her son, who was my partner in our canoe trip, that the reason I was complaining about leg pain all day was that I was just wimpy and complain a lot. A few weeks later, I found out that I had a bone tumor on my leg, so I was pretty vilified by that. But then again, I did have cancer. All's well now, though. People just have the right to blabber about anything nowadays. I'm probably blocking out the worst cases. I've learned it's pretty much human nature to talk trash about anyone who isn't present, so no reason to take it personally, but when you're a kid, it's a miserable experience. This worst case recently, I have a weird neurological problem in my shoulder and my arm, and no one's ever been able to diagnose it. During an intense flare-up, I was referred to a physical therapist by a friend. The therapist saw me once and recommended surgery. I was very reluctant to take the advice, but I didn't say no. I called the surgeon she recommended. Turned out she wasn't accepting new cases. The second appointment, there was a scheduling error, and I arrived 30 minutes too early. I sat in the front of the office and listened to the therapist making small talk with another patient about how her next patient was a psycho trying to fabricate some kind of malpractice case and refusing to comply with her advice. The receptionist was sitting right in front of me, also listening, but she didn't have to run back to stop it. So it went on for quite a while. If I had been a psycho trying to manufacture a legal case against her, she was kind enough to do all the work for me. Doctors should be treating their patients like a god. He acts like people actually like him. Someone needs to tell him, we only hang out with him because he will do almost anything you tell him to. He's a sad little puppet. Girl I had a thing for. Granted, anytime someone said something, starting with those things, I'd wonder what would happen if... and $20 says you wouldn't, couldn't do, insert stupid idea, I would jump on it and do it. Mean girl alert. A number of years ago, my sister's phone was super glitchy and would randomly call people. Once it called me, and after I stopped singing and goofing off into the phone trying to get her attention, I just stopped to listen. She was bitching to her mother-in-law about me. I honestly can't remember exactly what she was saying, but just the fact of who she was saying it to. This woman barely knows me. If it was one of our other siblings who we're close with, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It must have been hurtful to hear that from one sibling. Overheard someone saying they didn't want to work with me. I don't know why, considering I barely knew them. It definitely hurt though. It probably is just jealousy, which is the most common thing in the workplace. My project lead said to a mutual friend, I can't stand that guy. That one hurt emotionally and my career. Another case of workplace jealousy yet again. Everyone I'd invited to my first sleepover laughing while reading my diary entries and about how my dad had been abusing me. I'd left the room and one had gone snooping. It was worse when they wouldn't stop or give it back when I burst in and pleaded them to. Then everyone laughed even harder. That was the first and last time I ever wrote anything like that in a diary. That's just straight up immature and so insensitive now. My father said he was too busy to come see us on Christmas. I told him my 2-year-old had picked out presents for him. I was also going to announce my second pregnancy. I was at my brother's house when my father called to offer my brother a ride to the airport Christmas morning, and the airport was less than 5 minutes from our house. That definitely is a sad one. My best friend's story, not mine, but figured it's worth sharing. We'll call her Carrie. She was born super premature, but she ended up completely fine. Like, you would never know unless you saw the pictures of when she was born. Anyways, when she was around 8, she was at the top of the stairs, head peeking through the banister, secretly listening to her parents argue downstairs about how her dad was too hard on her brother for his grades. Her mom says, "Well, why aren't you that hard on Carrie? She doesn't get straight A's either." And her dad responds, "Carrie was born premature. She's probably retarded." Parents do play a huge role in our lives. When they speak stupid things like the dad before is what hurts children the most. Overheard my mother telling the rest of my family that my baby died because of my negligence. My baby died of SIDS. Mean mom again! When I was 8, I decided to take my mom a papier-mâché crocodile for her birthday. I spent weeks on it. I'd get back from school and work on it a little bit more, all in secret so it'd be a surprise when I gave it to her. One day I came home from school, excited to get to the crocodile as her birthday was coming up fast now, ran to the kitchen and saw my crocodile all screwed up lying in the kitchen bin. She'd found it and thrown it away. I cried so much. It looks like the world does have a lot of mean moms. Wow. When I walked in on my now ex-boyfriend cracking a joke about my boobs to a group of guys, I very clearly remember it ending with, "She'd be great if she had any." You deserve better, girl. I've always struggled with social anxiety, and I finally felt like I was getting a good handle on it. I texted one of the girls where we would be meeting as I was on my way to her apartment. Before I could knock, I heard her saying, "Oh my god, she is so annoying. Why couldn't she just get the hint?" And it was just a good few minutes of all these people who said that they would never judge me and that we were all family, just shit-talking me. All the progress I've made towards my social anxiety slid all the way down. I did get satisfaction when she tried to invite me to her wedding, and I didn't bother returning any of her messages. A little humanity, girls! Have you faced similar situations? Comment your thoughts down below. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't until now.